Welcome everyone to the Punjabi Chamber of Commerce's next webinar, and this is for Is Your Business Franchisable? Right? And let me tell you a little more about Punjabi Chamber of Commerce, and then I will go and introduce the speakers with you. And first of all, let me tell you something about myself, so that I am founder and CEO of two companies right now. One is a marketing company where we help small and medium businesses, and another is advisory in merger and acquisitions. And my company and my partners constantly look for investing in small and medium businesses, and where we for the business owners for helping them grow. Now, I'm also the co-chair of Punjabi Chamber of Commerce for San Francisco Bay Area with Kulwant Sandhu, and she is a supply chain leader and a vice president with a very great medical devices company in San Francisco, and we co-run this group, and we are working to increase the membership and involvement of everyone in the Punjabi community in San Francisco Bay Area and California as general. Now, a little more about us. It is a non-profit organization funded by generous support of Punjabi community. And we started in 2017 in New Jersey by Gary Pasricha, and we have strict no religion, no politics policy in place, and no discussion on politics. We are only a professional organization. We are a organization where entrepreneurs and professionals together help each other, help them grow and flourish and give back to the society, give back to our community here in United States and Canada, and maybe and send them, not maybe, send and support our community in India. And we have, like I said, Punjabis come from various background and ranging from all sectors, all industries, large corporates. I have been connecting on LinkedIn with a lot of CEOs and leaders and the business owners and all that. So and franchisee owners and all those people across the United States and everywhere else in the world. Signing up to PCC is very easy. With just a link, a few questions, and you join and be a part of this movement. Not only to help you grow, but also to give back. If you have some skill which you can give back to society, to our community, please reach out to us, me and Kulwant. We will ensure that we will ensure a platform that you can share your ideas with others. Now, we also helped during the COVID. Our organization helped during COVID with oxygen concentrators in government hospitals in Punjab, and we are again raising funds for these oxygen plants because there's so much of issues coming up with Omicron again. We also have started our youth wing, and if you have a youth member of your family who wants to join in, please let Kulwant and I know. So today's topic, like I said, is your business franchisable, and why is it important for Punjabis? And if you look at the screen, you see familiar name of the companies, and most of these companies run through a franchisee system. You know, everywhere in the United States, you will see these franchises, and many of them are owned by Indian Americans and Punjabis in general. When I was talking to Rick, our guest today, who is a franchising expert, I said that 40 to 50% of the hotels are owned by Indian Americans. If you go to any 7-Eleven, any Subway, I think around 80% are owned by Indian Americans, and most of them may be a Punjabi there, you know, and there are much activities happening there. So what we are doing today is, like, is your business franchisable? We definitely want to help the franchisees also. It's a great business to have. And Rick is a consultant and help there also. But what we want to do is, today we want to talk about how you can make your business franchisable and how you can become a franchisor and probably become a billion-dollar company or a multi-million-dollar company yourself, and establish a network of your own business across the United States and the world if possible. So here I want to introduce my guest a very good friend, Rick Morgan. He's a consultant and franchising expert. He helps a lot of businesses who have established businesses who want to navigate through the complexities of the modern franchising. And and it is a very, very complex field, because you are actually starting a full network of systems and processes, and also to share and develop the franchisees who work for you and work with you. And then he helps a lot of businesses do that. So here I have Rick. I thank you very much for joining. I would like to say anything about it, and we would like to listen to how you think we can make our businesses franchisable.
Thank you, Sandeep, and thank you to the Punjabi Chamber of Commerce, San Francisco chapter, and chapters throughout the country and around the world for this opportunity to work with you and speak with you about providing education on some thoughts that business owners may want to entertain if they want to explore if franchising is their best growth and exit strategy. And through the presentation that I'd like to walk through and our conversation, I'll cover the ecosystem that we have developed in this past year. And just a little bit about myself. I've been in the franchise industry for almost 7 years after a long corporate career. I'm a consultant with a consulting group that operates not only in the US and Canada, but in 19 different countries, where we help franchising grow. That's our main purpose, to help the industry flourish. And so I've been with them with the franchise consulting company a little bit over 5 years. And certainly a big portion of my business is working with business owners to see if this is the right path for them.
Yeah.
Can I take over the screen?
Yeah, please take over the screen and share.
All right, so
Thank you. Yeah, it works.
should I franchise my business, Rick Morgan consultant with the franchise consulting company?
Okay.
First, let's define franchising. I'm sure there's a common understanding of franchising, but we can look at it as a hub and spoke, all right, with the hub being the brand owner, the business owner who has an idea, has a successful business that they feel confident that their brand can be replicated. And so then the internal thought is, which is better, a franchise model or organic growth? And what are the costs involved? So if one chooses to become a franchise, the spokes become those franchise owners that have paid the franchisor money for the right to use the intellectual property and the processes involving merchandising, marketing, sales, supply chain, technology, et cetera, in their particular marketplace.
Yeah. And I think what you're saying is, and what is your experience in, either we go in for organic growth if we have a great idea, or we go into the franchisee route, right, which you said, right? So do you think the franchisee route is much more faster and less expensive to grow, or do you have any things to say that?
Certainly can be faster and certainly can be less expensive. So if you think of the system of franchising has this great reach to find great candidates, probably faster than the organic organization. So it's very much its own supply chain.
Mm-hmm.
It's less expensive because the overhead of location and headcount are part of that licensed business owner who bought into the intellectual property of that company.
Okay.
Because if I become a franchisee of one of your brands, your companies within the Chamber of Commerce, I'm going to pay the franchisor a one-time franchise fee, and then I'm going to remit what's called a royalty, and we'll cover that in a bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's a percentage of my top line gross revenue on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
So there's those two income streams. There are others, but those are the primary ones within franchising for the franchisor to reinvest into the business and be able to support the growth of their company, their franchisees, and stay ahead of the marketplace.
Yeah, no, definitely. So
this is this information is a forecast from the International Franchise Association. In the information I have, there's a comparison of 2019 to 20 to 21. And we just finished 21. The data isn't final yet, but the expectation is to bounce back as a whole entire industry to 2019 level, to pre-pandemic levels.
Awesome.
So, it's almost $1 trillion in economic output, 8 million workers, 800,000 locations, and growing.
Mm-hmm.
This is the slide of that you showed that we share.
One question I have for you is that when we take a franchisee system route and for starting a business, and I think that's why Indian Americans and Punjabis have gone into this area, or vis-a-vis a new business creating out of a franchisee on your own. Do you have any data which says that franchising system supported by a company or experts has a better success rate than the independent business?
Yes, that data is produced by the International Franchise Association, and I can follow up and send it to you. We don't have it part of the presentation, but there are statistics that franchises have there are a greater proportion of franchises after 3 years and 5 years and beyond than independent businesses.
Okay.
Yep. So just some definitions. We did talk about the franchisor, and that's the brand owner. That's the business that started with this great concept and has proven it out. And now they want to expand it by becoming a franchise and then having the ability to sell franchises throughout the country or internationally. The franchisee is the candidate that me and my peers may produce for the franchisor that we vetted and we produce, that's a great fit. Mm-hmm. And they're going to take that intellectual property, the processes and the proven systems, and implement them in the markets that they want to, because the franchise owner may be based in San Francisco or the San Francisco Bay Area, and the interested party is in Denver, Colorado. Mm-hmm. So there's these playbooks, for lack of better words, that person in Denver, Colorado can follow and prove to be successful too. Okay. Royalty is that the privilege for becoming a franchise owner and the use of the intellectual property and everything about that business that they're executing in their particular marketplace. Mm-hmm. Those are usually paid on a monthly basis. They can be set on a percentage level. A common number is 6 or 8% of top line revenue that is remitted back to the franchisor. And then territory is defined in franchising and in what we'll review in a bit, that franchise disclosure document of what the area that franchisee is going to have to build the brand. So, as part of our educational process of trying to figure out if your business is franchisable, let's think about these 5 things. Is it successful? Is it scalable? Meaning, can we replicate it? Have you protected your trademarks? And if any proprietary software or equipment has produced, have you patented that? Are you committed to spending the time to shift your business model from operating the business to supporting its growth through that network of franchisees? And let's figure out the right budget. What capitalization do you need to become a franchise? So success, your business being successful is going to mean different things. Let me throw out some examples, okay, of businesses that I'm working with, and one franchise that is, I would consider mature, that's in our system that I represent. Well, there's one restaurant franchise based in Southern California that really, they had one location, and they started in business in 2013. We connected in a webinar, much like this, a year and a half ago, and they went through the process of becoming a franchise, but they had one location. The business since it's been in business for 8 years, it was profitable. It's not a huge business, but the sales per square foot are so impressive and people were calling for this brand. They're always asking, where can I find your food in my market? Can I find it in the Jersey Shore? Can I find it in the beaches of Florida? That's an indication that the business could become a franchise. Another business that I'm working with is a health and wellness system, 2 locations. And another is a commercial real estate firm that their unique proposition is their unique way of finding clients and prospecting and closing. Now, that one company that I mentioned in the beginning of this section that is now mature, but they actually started with nothing. They didn't have a location. That's an indication that you don't have to have that operating business. But what they had were the expertise behind the business that they were developing. They were developing a restaurant called Mahana Fresh.
They had the intellectual. So what you're saying is, it is not necessary that you have to have millions of dollars of revenue, sales, or profits, or multiple locations to then think about creating a franchise, becoming a franchisor or franchising system. You can even start at a drawing board level if it's the right fit, or even with 1 store or 2 stores if you have a unique system or unique process or a unique product which people look for. All right.
Oh, what a spot on summary. I could have said it better myself. Thank you, Sandeep.
Thank you. I'm listening very carefully, brother.
You're going to keep me in check. I know that. So is your business scalable? We talked about the duplication, the calling for that particular product, the system that are, that restaurant that had one location in Southern California, their intent is to get big, but they've already have the vendor contracts and supply chain figured out. They've got, they work with Pacific Seafood, and they're set up to grow with this company as this company expands locations. So that's one aspect that's already figured out, and that's how it can be duplicated. Now, one thing about becoming a franchise is that the shift in ownership or your involvement is training, making sure that people who come on board, as franchisees come on board, are trained properly in the way you've done things. Sure, you're going to have an operations manual that outlines everything and the way they should do it, whether it's a product or a service, how it should be produced, what ingredients, the exact amount of ingredient or inventory or whatever. But they're going to come into a location of yours or your headquarters or your main office to spend time and be trained.
Yeah.
So that's also dovetails with the systems of customer service and quality, the quality of that support, because they're going to have questions. They're going to depend on the franchisor to be able to help them figure things out as in their own marketplaces.
Mhm.
That also, incorporates spending the amount of time, and as your franchise system grows, making sure that your organization, to support the growth of the franchise system, also expands with the right people and the right team. You're not going to be able to guarantee that your franchisees will be profitable, but based on what you have proven in your own business model, if they follow your playbook, they will have the opportunity to become very profitable.
Mhm.
The thing that is maybe misunderstood or unknown about franchising is that you as the franchisor are in control of who you award a franchise. And that is the key word, award a franchise. So if you think of that, of the surfacing of a new franchisee and them wanting to learn about your business, and that happening over time through a specific process, you can, consider like that as, a long-term interview, getting to know each other, dating before they sign a franchise contract. But throughout that process and your interaction with that candidate, you are determining if they're going to be the right fit to grow your brand.
Yeah.
If you get the sense that they're going to deviate,
Mhm.
then you may not want to award.
One thing I want to ask you, Rick, is for the systems and process in the last slide which you had. These systems and processes are not only related to how the say ingredients of for food and all that, and what temperature and who handles what, and the best franchising story is from McDonald's, right? So because everywhere in the world they will sound the same thing, they will taste the same thing, and there is a process to it, and those systems. And I think every franchisor should create documents and processes so dump proof that even a grade 5 or grade 4 level kid can understand that, right? Is there a requirement for that?
Yes, and that is part of the help that we provide companies who want to become a franchise.
Yeah.
Is that we have a sister company that does all of that administrative background legwork,
Okay.
which includes legal work, the creation of that operations manual in conjunction with the franchise company, the brand owner.
Yeah.
And all systems also includes marketing.
Mm-hmm.
What the new franchise has done successfully to market the brand and increase awareness and drive trial, gain customer loyalty. Those are incorporated into that operations manual, because that's if they're not going to follow that part of the process and plan and playbook, then that could detract from their success.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
You want, number 3, you do want to make sure that everything you've created is protected so that it can't be challenged and taken, and prevented you from using it because you didn't trademark and somebody else did, or you didn't apply for a patent for a particular proprietary software or piece of equipment. So those, and you certainly want to protect your way people can contact you through your website, your URL, all of that all those elements that go into your brand, you want to make sure that you have exclusive right to them. Yeah. And so that's certainly something to consider that you want to do, and also our processes will help you make sure that.
Yeah, so what you're saying is it is not only related to the brand or trademark and all that. It is also, we should also look at, say, like utility patterns and maybe a process patterns and all that, so that we when we launch a franchisor system or become a franchisor, we are protected so that nobody steals it when we launch it. I mean, that's this.
Yes, I'll try to be short. I'll give you one example. We have a waste management company within our portfolio, and they came to us probably a year and a half ago, May, June of 2020. And one of their features was they have apps on smartphones that have a 20-year patent. So, those apps help the whole chain within that business. It helps the customer who wants junk removed. It helps the employees of the franchisee, and it helps the business owner. The second app is designed to work with property managers on refuse removal. And there's that whole chain of making it convenient for the user that no other junk removal or waste management company can do. That's an example of patenting those apps for, it's probably 18 years left now. 18 years left on their patents.
Okay, thank you.
You've got to be motivated to build your franchise system. And again, this is something that's worked on. There's your overall strategic plan if we were to engage and help you become a franchise, because you don't have to grow rapidly overnight. You don't have to say, I'm a single unit and I want to get to 500 in 5 years. That's not a fixed trajectory. But you do want a well thought out plan that over time you want to grow to X number of locations. Usually the magic number that gets the attention of bigger players is 100. There's 100 units. Well, even 50 can get the attention of the investment community.
50 franchisees, right? That's
50 franchisees, yes.
Okay.
That may own more than 50 locations.
So you're saying if we have a plan to create 50 or 100 franchisees, then investors will be interested, or we should have already 50 or 100, then investors will be more interested in us?
Only a certain percentage of franchises do get to that 100 or more.
Okay.
I have experienced a company within our portfolio that they had 55 well-changed locations, either open and or ready to open, and they got the attention of a private equity group.
Okay.
Who made an offer they couldn't refuse.
Okay. Otherwise, somebody may be interested in investing even with a plan. But if you have a unique, okay.
They may be interested in investing because they believe this brand can get to those numbers.
Yeah. Okay.
It doesn't mean every franchise has to catch the eye of private equity or investment bankers. I mean,
sure.
That's going to be up to the individual owner. A solid system with 40, 50, 60 units may provide everything they want.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, sure. I agree.
So there are going to be costs involved to becoming a franchise, because there's legal work involved. There's the time spent in developing that solid FDD, franchise disclosure document. That's a legal document that fully discloses the business, the history of the business.
Yeah.
And you can think of it as like an investment prospectus. If I am interested in a franchise and I engage with them, they have to disclose the business, and they do that by sending me the FDD. And the FDD includes everything about the company, biographies of its management, whether they've been involved in any litigation or bankruptcies. It gives a range of costs to open the business,
Mhm.
any financial performance representations, any outline, marketing, vendor relationships. Some franchises have specific vendor relationships that you can only buy through these vendors or their system. Others allow for approval of outside vendors. It outlines the rights and responsibilities on each side, the franchisee and the franchisor, and also includes the financials, audited financials of the company, so that the prospective candidate can get a great understanding from a written standpoint about the company.
Yeah.
And then if you haven't trademarked your brand, then there will be costs involved. When an FDD is produced, there are 27 states that you can start selling right away. There are 13 states, California being one, and New York and Maryland and Virginia and Illinois and others, 13 states that require that secondary level of approval before you can start selling. And there's a registration fee. So that's 40. Then there are 10 states that require a simple single document filing with either no or minimal cost, maybe $25 to the state's Commerce Department or something like that. And then there are launch costs. So we'll cover this in a bit. I've mentioned our sister company that helps do this, and it's called Franchise Genesis. And what Franchise Genesis does is they, with their internal legal resources, and in conjunction with the company, write that solid FDD.
So what you're saying is, yeah, there are possibilities for people to do it through other lawyers, legal people, and all that. But your company does that as a full integrated process also, right? That's what you're saying. But it is possible that somebody like, if suppose I have a very good lawyer friend, I want to go through him, it's possible. Right. So there's no requirement as that we have to hire a very big company to do this franchisor development kind of a stuff. Am I correct?
Correct. It'll be prudent for somebody who wants to investigate becoming a franchise and the cost of doing that, to take a look at the cost and services that Franchise Genesis may offer versus doing it independently.
Okay.
And then using that as a basis for arriving at who they want to go with.
Yeah, but there is an option available for.
Yes. So there's definitely options, and we're just offer one type of solution.
Yeah.
So with that ecosystem, let's assume that you're ready. Let's say that you have a health and wellness company that helps people avoid surgical options. You've proven it. You've got a great client base, and you think, I've got a great brand here. I've got systems and I've got patient testimonials. I've got everything in place that my wellness center can be duplicated or replicated, and I want to explore franchising.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there are systems, and our ecosystem can help you get there.
Yeah.
Can help you build it.
Yeah.
After you build it and you're ready to franchise, what do you do then?
Mm-hmm. So you need to have people who will identify the new targets for your franchisees, and then how to select them, and then selection process and actually selecting it, right? So then is that and then helping them with marketing and all that. So tons of stuff are needed after that, right? Am I correct? Am I?
Yeah. Yes. And this is a very general slide on the services that you need to think about from becoming a franchise. Well, how am I going to grow? Who's going to handle that growth? Are there other resources, other CEOs and new franchises that I can talk with? And we learn from each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's going to find these great candidates?
Mhm.
How am I going to market my new franchise? Can I outsource this or should I do it internally?
Yeah.
And then we offer an option to outsource it under our ecosystem. But this is just really making your constituents aware of what do you need to do and think about after you become a franchise, and what it takes to grow and manage that growth.
So what I understand is, so first, like you said, about think of an idea, or if you have a right business model or everything is right, then you build the franchisee. You have figured out the FDD, you have figured out everything else, and then they start, and then suppose you have built 4-10 franchisees or 5 franchisees. How do you grow them? And then constant franchisee education is required. And that franchisee education is not only on the processes which your company has, but also maybe of legal and marketing and other things. Am I correct? So there are, it's a whole company you're running, right? So you may have a one store or one business company which have say a few $1 million sales. You may not have enough people to support the entire growth, and then the franchisees gets frustrated that you're not supporting them. Is that what you're saying right now?
Yeah, yes. We have a new franchise company in our portfolio. They're again based in Southern California. And it's a construction-based company. They primarily do a lot of the warranty work on new buildings.
Okay.
And so they, before they came into our inventory, they were a franchise and they had four locations. And the 4 locations are doing extremely well as far as the growth of their business and over time. Then they realized that, wait a minute here, we shouldn't contain our brand and the ability for people to grow these businesses just to Southern California. We want to franchise it in the rest of the country. So that's how we connected, and through vetting each other in conversation, figured out how we can help each other.
Okay, yeah. And
that's what this is trying to identify, how we can help the entire process from beginning to exit.
Okay, I understand. And there are multiple needs, multiple challenges people have, businesses will have. And it's like I said, it's growing the company, even marketing itself. Like I run a marketing company that itself has 25 different steps to it, right? So if you start thinking marketing, so it looks like marketing is one thing, but they have 25 different steps. And when you are growing a company, when you are selecting a process, I remember I used to select channel partners in India for my companies. It used to take weeks and months to even vet a person, understand the goodwill of a person, understand whether they're capable of doing that or not. So all that is an education. So what I understand is your business franchisable? Yes, it can add a lot of revenue and profits to you. And the best part of that is it creates a system. It creates a kind of a passive income also, passive, if I can use the word passive here, stream of income to you, coming in from franchisees once that become a well-oiled machine, which is producing revenue for every franchisee. Correct?
Correct. So when a business has their core business and they want to franchise it, so they maintain the integrity of their main business, the core business, and they create a separate holding company for the franchising portion.
Okay.
So that the two are separate. And as the franchising portion grows, the infrastructure of that primary company or your franchisor should grow so that they can support the needs of their franchisees.
Yeah.
And it's staying ahead of the marketplace.
So in this,
addressing consumer, go ahead.
yeah,
Sorry.
in this case, so when we say franchise, when I want to become a franchisor, so you just touched upon a point, very important point, the legal structure. We are not legal advisors here, but just from your experience, what I understand is you have a legal structure in LLC and for your own main business, you don't want to create a franchisee system under that same LLC because that's too much of a risk and it's not segregation, right? So you have to have a holding company kind of a thing. And I think that existing LLC will license or do some kind of an arrangement with the new holding company, which holds the IP and the process and all that. And then they move on. And then there is some money flowing in between each other for doing that.
Yeah, yes, yeah, certainly, we're not the legal experts. We're just kind of covering what we know.
Yeah.
There are legal experts when a business does engage or even have conversation with the outsourcing party, that they have the legal resources to kind of explain that further and why it's best to do that.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we covered in our conversation the FDD.
Yeah.
And it's a legal document that has to be prepared. It has to be filed with the Federal Trade Commission. Every single franchise brand has to file it with the Federal Trade Commission. When we talked about certain states require that next level approval, state level registration. And it's an evolving document because every year it's got to be updated with changes that occurred from the previous year. So this year, and April seems to be a common month, that a good proportion of the franchises will be updating and submitting their 2022 FDD, which incorporates what happened in 2021.
Okay, I did not know that. I thought always that you just create one FDD and go for years with that, but that's a good, thank you. I didn't know that.
At the bottom of this paragraph, it talks about item 19, financial performance. Every FDD is going to look the same. Items are synonymous with chapters, and there's items 1 through 23. Item 19 will always be capture what the franchisor wants to portray as the financial performance of their franchisees. And that it varies. There are franchises, very great franchises, that choose not to disclose anything in their FDD. They don't represent or warrant that. Others go to the extreme and put full P&Ls of their franchisees in that item 19.
Yeah.
So that's something that you'll want to understand and working with counsel and resources like myself, what's best to represent there.
Okay.
So step 2 is that development of that operations manual, that your playbook that incorporates everything that the new franchisee needs to know and follow to provide the best probability for success. In the FDD, there will be a item that has your audited financial statements for the previous year. I have seen financial statements, and because they've created that separate LLC, it's going to be very bare. So you don't have to worry, you don't have to be overly concerned about incorporating the financial statements of your primary business. And as your business grows and your franchisee system grows, then you're going to have a fully populated P&L and balance sheet and cash flow that's been audited.
Okay.
Filing and registration, part of the work that is done by our sister company is still do the filings and registrations on your behalf.
Okay.
And here's a list of those registration states that
where it is
file
required.
with them. You pay a registration fee, and then you got to wait till these states approve. Once they approve it, then you can go and start selling.
And why do they do that? Do they do that for ensuring to get taxes, or do they do that to ensure that we don't they're citizens are protected or something like that? Or what's the reason? Or both?
I think it's primarily to make sure that the consumers in
Their
these
states are
states
not cheated.
these states have chosen to protect the consumers by requiring that they approve
Okay.
the FDD.
Okay. And how
And
much time does it take for them to approve the FDD?
it'll vary by state. California can be a few months. Other
Oh,
states
wow.
can be very, very quick.
Okay.
Washington, I think Washington and Virginia, and Maryland's probably takes the longest. Now, so here's something to clarify. I'm a new franchisor. I don't have to do business right away in the registration states.
Yeah.
I can wait until consultants like me have provided leads, a lot of leads. Now there's the interest. Now there's a reason for me to pay the registration fee to go into California or
Yeah.
Illinois.
So it's a right way to say, it's not that I agree that we don't think of hey, I will start with 52 states right away. You're saying it, test it in your state, maybe in different cities and different this thing, and then maybe another state, make it work well, and then if it is possible, and depending on your business plan, go for all out or whatever it is, go one by one or all out later on. But first try out these processes and these systems in one place or maybe 2 or 3 states. Is this what you're saying?
Yeah. I mean, I have my FDDs ready to go. I'm a franchise. I can go right away in 27 states.
Mm-hmm.
I can go
to those 27 states which allow seamless activity to happen,
yes.
Right? Okay. Yeah.
Within another 48 hours, I can go into another 10 states.
Awesome.
So I've got 37 states.
Yeah.
And if you want to include Puerto Rico and maybe other U.S. territories, you've expanded your footprint.
So we have another 4 or 5 minutes, and then maybe we can look for questions if people have. Sure. Is that okay?
That's okay. I'll go through these quickly.
Sure.
Very quickly. These kind of identify the services that our ecosystem can provide. Mm-hmm. If you want to become a franchise, we do a feasibility study to help you understand what the competitiveness of your field. Yeah. We can't handle international franchise system, development. Yeah. We have mentioned multiple times about legal resources you need to become a franchise. Yeah. We can certainly outsource the sales process. Mm-hmm. Part of the development of you becoming a franchise and launching is developing marketing programs. Yeah. Things like that. And then through that CEO to CEO education, you learn about best practices and learn from other emerging franchise companies.
For me, I think that's a very, very important subject, because having a mastermind alliance, having some people in the mentorship group and all that is very, very valuable.
We do have the ability to manage our ecosystem, manage the sales process. I think that's a subject for another conversation. Yeah. But and we do help you weigh, should I do it internally or do I outsource it? Mm-hmm. This is that CEO to CEO learning we talk about. We have that educational platform in Charlotte, North Carolina. Mm-hmm. And we have brand summits once a quarter. Then we also have the ability to provide franchise owners with the vetted and qualified leads. That's where I come in. Mm-hmm. But I'm able to help and guide a company from becoming a franchise all the way through the end. That I'm capable of doing that. But on my day-to-day role, I'm also looking for qualified candidates for the new franchise, for the mature franchise.
And I can tell you one thing more here, that when I look for businesses for I have a investing in company, advising company. When I look for businesses for acquisition or for consulting, advising, I look for this thing also, that whether this concept and this product is franchisable or not. Because if it is, we can actually get that business at a right price, and then maybe 10x it, 5x it as soon as possible, and do that. Leverage the franchisee model. And I keep that in mind whenever we evaluate a company.
I want the audience to understand that we have vehicles to help you market and drive the awareness of your brands and educate them, because we do own a trade show, a franchise expo circuit called the Great American Franchise Expo. And we'll be in 12 cities in 2022.
Awesome.
We also own an online magazine that comes out every month and goes out to 750,000 readers. I write articles on my clients. In the January issue, I'll send you the link to the January issue. I wrote an article introducing that restaurant brand in Southern California.
Awesome.
And I'm more than happy to do that. And actually, if you work with us, that becomes part of your marketing plan at no extra cost. Again, just as you talked about, Sandeep, when it comes time to exit, if that day does come, we have the resources to help.
Yeah.
And thank you.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed this hour, and I appreciate it, Sandeep, and the ability to speak to the Punjabi Chamber of Commerce.
Okay, great. And Akash, do you have any questions on live or on otherwise?
No, Sandeep, currently there are no questions.
Okay,
We have people,
so what Akash, you can do is Rick has kindly agreed to send this presentation to me, and with the videos and all that, you can either post it on the online and say as a link to the presentation, and also please send it to everyone. And if anybody has any questions, they can reach out. This is a very, very important subject for any business owner who wants to become a franchisor and build a new stream of revenue and profits. So I think this will be very important for everyone. I hope everyone enjoyed, and thank you very much, Rick, for your time, and thank you, Akash, for managing all this from the background.
Thank you, Sandeep, and thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
We'll be ending the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, bye. Thank you, Rich.
Thank you.